Look, so like that.
All right, we are back with another episode. This is number 66. I am Noah Lyons, as always, coming at you from the What's Really Going On podcast. Before we get into it, be sure to follow us on all of our social media. That includes Twitter and Instagram at WRGO Pod. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, where you can watch all of our videos in full. Be sure to like, listen, subscribe, and share on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Lastly, be sure to check out our website, www.what'sreallygoingonpod.com. As always, I am joined by Mackenzie and Henry. How are you guys?
What's up? I'm good on this lovely Thursday evening.
Henry?
Chilling, trying to make moves.
Okay.
Per usual.
Your energy, I feel like, never really matches ours, Henry.
I love it.
What? Hi, you guys. What's going on? Like, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be like excited, and you'll be like, I'm just getting to the money, or like just.
I mean, I am. That's all it is these days.
Oh my gosh. LLC Twitter. Anyway.
As of December 13th, 2020, you are correct. Why y'all making face?
Ends episode. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. With some breaking news that just happened today. So the U.S. House, a couple of hours ago, as we are recording on Thursday, February 4th, voted to expel Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene from the Labor and Education Committee. She represents the northwest portion of the state, the Chattanooga suburbs in Georgia. She was removed from her committees following video surfacing of her harassing a Parkland survivor shooting victim, saying that Muslims should not serve in Congress and that 9/11 was a hoax. This has been getting a lot of traction. So I think the main question is kind of like, what does it say about kind of the Republican Party post-Trump? Because I feel like everyone has been talking this kind of consistent theme of how, once Trump goes, everything's going to return back to normal. But clearly, and Henry, I'm sure you could speak to this better than anyone since you're the Georgia resident of us, like, what does this kind of just say about all of this?
I mean, it don't do nothing for me. Chattanooga is, that's Republican territory. Yeah, like I said on the previous podcast, especially when we're talking about like voting and stuff. I mean, you have Atlanta, you have the metropolitan Atlanta, and then you have Georgia. That's all different, things. And that, she don't bother me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I would say to the question of like, what does this say about the Republican Party, like post Donald Trump? I would hope, since we're back to normalcy or whatever they want to call it, they try to hold her accountable to some degree. So that's my take.
Mackenzie?
My take is honestly, so I've been watching it all day and I don't know what Republicans are smoking, but like the things that they were saying to like justify it, it was crazy because even outside of like representatives in the House, people get fired every day from jobs, from tweets that they've made in the past. Even the job I've had, and I think I've told y'all this, they kind of pulled me to the side before they even confirmed me to be hired that, you need to clean up your old tweets and your old social media. So I don't know why they were acting like in this world that we already operate in social media, like people get called out for old social media posts every single day. So the way that they were like, this isn't what we stand for. I'm like, are y'all, it's one thing that, okay, maybe you guys are just still like not really trying to condemn some of the things that she's saying, or are y'all really operating in a world where y'all don't know that people are being held accountable outside of this House of Representatives for their social media posts? It was just so weird because I'm like, some of them, like McCarthy was sitting up there saying like, this is not what we represent, and what if everybody gets represented on things that they've done years ago? I'm like,
okay,
they do though. They do. Yeah. Like in regular world, they do. In our jobs, they do. Yeah, I'm just, but that's why I guess I was kind of like confused because I'm like, are y'all going just this hard because you guys just don't want to condemn somebody from your own party, or all y'all are you all that out of touch to not realize that this really happens every single day in most job offices?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. I mean, I think it's like, I think they know that at least in the Republican Party, they can't clap back on her too hard because I'm sure they know that a lot of their supporters probably believe the crap that she says. And I think
Isn't that like a problem unless
it
there's
is.
some Republican Party like, stands on? Because
Yeah,
from my understanding, the Republican Party is nothing but like a financial like freedom. Like I believe in everybody funding themselves. We don't believe in government support, right?
that's what they say.
Right. So it should
I
be
mean, yeah,
show whatever. Y'all should be able to cut them out because like to the point we were talking about last time, to where like again we kind of alluded to this earlier, to where like we're in this like, oh, post-Trump era, everything's back to normal, whatever. And then we were at posing a question last podcast as of like who are going to be the ones calling these people out. And I think that goes to both parties, not just the Democrats, because for
yeah,
me, I don't classify myself as a Democrat. I'm an independent. So for that case, you kind of like look at both parties and see what they're doing, and like, just because of history or whatever, Democrats tend to favor, and my like, you know, with my morals. So my point again is, who is like gonna be calling these people out on either side? Who's gonna hold these people accountable? To my point earlier, like hopefully they hold it like her, accountable, because this
yeah,
is like crazy. Especially in 2021, to where we're trying, or at least trying, on a large stand front of America to exist in this like, equality, progressive, everybody's equal, people should be, held accountable for their actions era. Like we can't just play a blind eye to stuff like this.
yeah. And I think like to go even further, I know like earlier was it? I don't know if it was no, it was late last week where her and Cori Bush, the freshman member from St. Louis, had basically like a verbal argument, and
Mhm.
Marjorie Taylor Greene was getting all up in her face. And I think it was really indicative that like Nancy Pelosi moved Cori Bush and her staff away. But I think like that's kind of like representative of like the problem is that like when something happens, largely Black women, they're forced to do all the relocating. They're still, Cori Bush and her staff still have to like work in fear, but Marjorie Taylor Greene just gets like a slap on the wrist. So it's kind of like and I think that's on like Pelosi. I think it's on more people to just be like, no, she shouldn't even be in here. And
Right.
like,
That's on both sides
yeah,
again. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Working class people, professionals, to a higher standard. You're
yeah.
not just representing yourself or what you believe in. You're representing your district, your state, and all the people that sent you here. So you need to understand that you have to act in a according like fashion.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also like this lady was sitting on like the education committee. Like
yeah,
you're talking about endorsing conspiracy theories and white supremacy, but then you're also in the same capacity going to turn around and pass legislation and talk about bills that influence our kids.
A lot of
Like,
us. A lot of
yeah, so
us.
I'm just like,
Us.
what'd you say?
I said again, it's gonna affect a lot of us. Like a
Yeah.
lot of
yeah,
So yeah, I don't really like, but also like Henry said, like it's also like Pelosi, and I just feel like, I mean, we say this, I feel like every Thursday, like Democrats also need to do a lot more work and stuff like this. It's like the example you brought up about moving Cori Bush and not the other way. It's little things like that that I think that are the things that both parties need to recognize, that even though that we might be the good party and everybody is on our side or whatever, or we're more progressive than the other party, doesn't mean that we don't have flaws ourselves. And it's really starting to get annoying.
yeah. I mean, I think to your point, and especially to what Henry was kind of saying, like Henry's kind of had this like a wholesome approach of like it's just about like the end result. Like you can say whatever you're gonna say and you can say how it's wrong, but like what are you actually doing to stop it? And I think like them removing her from committees, like that's cute, but like she's still there. Like that literally doesn't do anything. Like she still has the power of Congress to do whatever she wants. And she might not have a vote on committee, but she still has a vote on the floor. She can still give speeches. She can still do anything at any time
She
to
can
have
still
Congress.
exist. She still
Yeah,
has a job. And that's That's the problem. Because I mean, we all know that if it was a woman of color or anybody that wasn't a white person, they would have been somehow figured out some way to be excommunicated officially. So it's annoying. Half-assed as usual. Sorry.
Yeah. So moving on, one thing that I actually did not know that was about to happen soon is impeachment. The impeachment of President Trump is set to begin on Tuesday and will last more than about a week. Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who is leading the impeachment, has called on Trump to testify, but the former president will not, according to a spokesperson. Trump was impeached in the House for his conduct involving the January 6th riot at the Capitol. I totally forgot that like this was a thing. Given that Trump's out of office, should we kind of still care about impeachment?
Yes, he need to be held accountable. He need to be prosecuted beyond impeachment. You know what I'm talking about? Like all them crimes he did with businesses and taxes and anything, discrimination, impeachment. He need every charge came against him. Yes, but is it gonna happen?
I'm kind of in the same, like, I guess yes, I am tired of talking about him. I wish we could just officially turn the page and just move forward. However, there are, not to use it
real quick though, because you like said something like boom, trigger something for me. Like to the point of officially turn the page, that's how they're gonna try to wipe him down in history. And I don't think that's fair to like my kids. They need to know what he did and how he played a part in history, because either way, if we want to admit it or not, he really opened up a truth of America. I'm gonna just say that, and you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't even say he opened it up, but the truth was always there. I mean, I guess made people more comfortable. But what I will say though, I wish we could just move on and not talk about him, because I am just so sick of talking about him. However, it is like, and I hate to say what the Democrats are saying and like use the same rhetoric, but he does need to be held accountable. You cannot hold this position of office and do some of the things that you've done and just get away with it. Like that is just, we can't just let him get by like that. And whether impeachment really does anything to his, like, is he gonna go to jail, or does he really care? No, but like for future reference, no, you cannot do these things, because in this office you have to have at least some type of respectability politics by the bare minimum. Like he was so out of control. So I think we should care, but also in the same breath, we're still in a pandemic. People need actual help, vaccines, money. Like, so if there was some way for people to do two things at once, and they claim that they can do that, but
it's not how they're set up.
It's not happening.
It's not how they're set up. I mean, that's my worry, is that I think like I kind of wish they would have did it as soon as possible. Because the longer we get away from kind of like the events at the Capitol, it's not prevalent in our mind anymore. Like as soon as he did it, they should have walked that joint up. And I don't care if they brought it up on the 19th or even the day after Biden got sworn in, they should have done it immediately. And I think kind of doing it now, it needs to happen. But I think the easiest answer for probably most people, especially Republicans, is like, well, he's not in office anymore. And that's a crap excuse. But I think that's probably most people's thinking, is like, well, he's not here anymore, so why am I focused on it? Which is a false way of thinking. But I kind of feel like they definitely missed a chance to bring it up like ASAP, because people can just forget about it.
What I said to when I like got in with Mackenzie, like they're gonna try to erase all of the stuff that happened as if it wasn't important. It didn't mean anything. Like, who in history has ever attacked the Capitol? And then not only that, the president kind of incited it. And not only that, he should have got impeached the first goddamn on time. So he's like, bro, like to me,
people have died. People died from that. Like we've like lost lives because of that. So like I mean, not to cut you off, but like I really wish we would stop. I don't want to talk about him anymore. However, like you cannot go back to Palm Beach, Florida, and be chilling. And you can't. Chilling. Like you can't. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, and I think to your point, Mackenzie, I think like, and I've read it in some reports, but not that many times, like we still don't really know what actually happened at the Capitol. Like it's still unclear, and like a Capitol Police officer was,
the lack of details and transparency. Because imagine if this was wherever we wanted to protest, there it was these black protesters were.
Yeah, I mean, like
for me,
you got judges' kids up there, like you have public officials up there, military veterans there,
executives, C-level executives. Like it was important people up there. So many, like, and the thing that's kind of irking me, and you know, Twitter be with their fake news, and I don't know, like I haven't sourced it, but I seen that like this black man was being prosecuted for being there.
Yeah.
But like I haven't seen no YT person, you know what I'm saying, getting shackled, charges being pushed through, like stuff has been dropped. I've seen stuff drop. So to me, that's like very
and
annoying.
People making bail.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so y'all gonna tell us what's up? Like, that's not even cool. That's really like, again, I said this is another podcast that shows you the powers that may be who have control, because it's like, this is just gonna get washed under the water. It never happened. Trump's not going to be held accountable. That was just the time we experienced and we move on. The COVID pandemic. And you move on. Like that was it. It's gonna be a subtitle. That pisses me off.
I mean, understandably so. I mean, I think they need to, like, the fact that they haven't had like congressional investigate, like they need to grill everybody who was involved. Like, I don't think it gets talked enough that like a Capitol Police officer was like beat to death with like a fire extinguisher. Like crazy shit happened.
And then you have even, not to cut you off, but then you even have like people like AOC who keeps saying that she truly feels in her heart that her colleagues tried to set her up to kill her. Yeah. That's major. Like, that's really crazy.
Let's talk about how this joint was orchestrated.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that doesn't get, like, to your point, doesn't get talked about enough. And I think, like, I don't know. I think, and they've had one senator kind of like read the injuries from like Capitol Police officers and like other people. And it's like, to Henry's point, we don't even know like what actually happened. And until we do, like, how can we get on? But I guess to Henry's point, I guess that's America being America, trying to scrape something under the rug. So now I'm really looking forward to this part of the conversation. Now we're going to get to the big fact. So this past week in Congress, a group of 16 senators, they co-sponsored a budget amendment to exclude higher income families from receiving the $14,000 stimulus checks that Biden has proposed. The effort was led by a Republican and Democrat. Senator Susan Collins from Maine, the Republican, and Joe Manchin from West Virginia, the Democrat. There has also been a new push to have the stimulus checks going to only those under making $50,000 a year or families making less than $100,000. I don't get this at all, but like, what should we take from Congress trying to do a reduced stimulus, and Biden hasn't said anything yet, and I don't think it's because he supports it, but I think he's trying to read the room, but like, he hasn't said like, yo, I'm deading this if it comes to my desk. What's going on? Because if I don't get a stimmy, votes are not gonna happen.
I told y'all January 20th, it was gonna be some bullshit. I told y'all this. No, so this is what I've read. He is not opposed to, he's committed to completing the $2,000 check. So that's already not sitting well with me. So he's committed to completing the $2,000 stimulus check, would be 14.
Strike one.
So that's already strike one. Then he's not opposed to, because Republicans were saying that they want to, like you just said, give the stimulus check to lower income families. So that would be the below 60,000 and whatever.
He said,
so he's not opposed to that. So that's strike 2, 3, 4, 5 for me. My thing with him though is just like, you know, this though.
Directly though, like it's these people in Congress.
It's been written. You know? It's been written. And that's the thing about him though. The thing about him is he's always, I mean, most politicians always,
he reads the room.
He's reading the room and he's slowly reneging on things. Yeah. Now, at first it was, I'm going to give $2,000 checks to Americans. Now I'm going to give $1,400 check to Americans. Now
I'm going to give it to some of y'all.
Yeah, I'm only giving it to some. So we're already.
Can I just say this? he do need to raise it, but like,
I mean,
50,
it dropped from 75 to 50. That's a big drop.
That's a huge drop.
yeah. So like, that's what I'm gonna say. It need like the 100,000 up. Yeah, y'all good, but the
And then
100,000.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The 100,000 down, I definitely think should get a stimulus check because we are the ones being most affected by it. And now I guess, get what they're trying to do with like only giving it to low income, but I make more than $50,000. So, bro, no, no, like that's not fair.
I think the solution would be give more money to the people who make less, but like to cut everybody off is not. That's not right.
That's what I was trying to balance. I was trying to
Yeah.
like balance it out in my head. Like the 100,000, like if you make more than 6 figures, like you good, you know?
Yeah,
Whatever.
I mean, I think it's like, it's kind of like, I mean, granted, I'm being selfish. I want a stimulus. Like I think,
I mean, this is very selfish, but still,
yeah.
it's actually, I don't even think it's about being selfish. This is holding him accountable to things that you said.
Right,
You
would
said
agree.
this,
I would
and
agree.
then now
like
you're saying
Mackenzie said,
something
though,
else.
we went from 2,000 to 14, but I already knew when they was pushing 600 out that night. I already knew it was gonna be some bull. When
But
I got $600
But this
that
is still
night.
what you said.
Yeah.
That's the thing about holding them accountable. This is what you
They're gonna be
said.
like, and this my thing too with the whole 2,000 or the 1,400 thing. He didn't pass that 600. Trump did, right? That was Trump.
Look, he said 2 bands, okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to, Noah. That's what I'm about to say. I'm like, Trump gave me 600 and then the 1,200. You ain't got nothing to do with that. But the government gonna be like taxes and blah blah. My thing is they be bailing all these hedge funds, and we need to talk about GameStop then. But
we're gonna get
whatever.
there. We're gonna get there.
Look,
we're gonna get
it's
there.
It's like they be bailing all these people out Wall Street and the banks. But when it comes to us regular people that's trying to come up in the world, you know what I'm saying? They want to treat us like we got it all. Like, what?
I think my thing is that, and this is something that I want someone to answer, because I know like some Democrats have been pushing for this too, to like try to be bipartisan, which is like bullshit. But what I have not yet heard is that, let's say, one, making 51,000, so you would just clear this imaginary threshold. Making 51,000 in Kentucky or in Wyoming is different than making 51,000 in DC or New York. So,
because I stay my residence in Maryland, it's expensive around here.
Or, and I think another point that needs to be said is that, like, yes, like the government's taking COVID seriously, but like people are still filing unemployment claims. So let's say I make
not 60, getting it, not getting their benefits.
But what I'm saying is that, like, let's say a family, they make collectively above 100,000. Let's say someone is in a service industry and loses their job. Like, then what do I do? Like, the process of just not giving people as much money just to have more of a cushion. I think like these people don't understand that like too many people are living check to check. This check would then help them if something happens, they have more freedom to then live. And like that kind of thinking of like, just give it to those who are most needed. Of course, they need it most, but let's try to make sure that other people don't need it as well, or like one check away from going under. Like, and also like the annoying thing is that like when rich people get tax breaks, they're not putting it back into the economy. Like if us three get a stimulus, we're actually spending it. We're using that money to go to something that is then keeping a restaurant open, that's keeping some local business open. Like if we get stimulus checks, it's easier for us to, I'm not going to say too much about our future plans, but it's easier for us to support another business with what we're doing. And like that kind of thinking, I don't know if it's just because they're rich or just because they're white or they're not thinking of these things, but like help people not then have to go under. No, but I digress. That's my rant for today.
I agree with you. I definitely, well, that's essentially what I was saying. I definitely feel like, you know what I'm saying, us working class people should all kind of partake in like receiving a check. It is messed up. He, you know, reneged on his initial 2,000, but it's the government. What do you expect? I definitely, he got to push to 14 and everybody under at least 100,000 because like that's just logical. That don't make sense because cushion room, you know what I'm saying? People are living check to check, and to the point, you know what I'm saying, I blurted out like people staying in these bigger cities are paying more for rent and food and transportation and just like all of it. Especially now in a pandemic to where You know what I'm saying? Certain restrictions are in place, so it's more expensive to get to where you gotta go or obtain the services you need. So it's definitely hard for people to survive in these times. So yeah, I definitely think focusing on like the needy, like that's crazy. And then to that point, like people that's filing unemployment not even getting their unemployment. So my thing, like, where's this? Like, what's up, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like to the point where, like, I think all of us can agree, like the people who make less need it the most. Like, I think no one's debating that. And I don't know. I've like been thinking about this all day of like if they actually do this, um, that's on the Democratic Party because they technically just need 50 votes to get this done in the Senate, and then I think like a real conversation needs to be a point of like what was the point? I got you in office and you kept talking about how you're going to make this better, and then I get my income restricted when a Democrat's in office because of what? Answer
Literally, somebody tweeted, I seen this on Twitter, it was so funny. Like, this man started off the presidency with a bold-faced lie to the American people. You straight lied to us. You started off with a lie. Like, it's actually like, I guess we always kind of talk about how politicians kind of drop the ball, but I think this is the first time, at least for me, where I have seen truly, like in real time, him drop the ball week after week when it comes to this bill.
And I also think this is just different. Like, I think this is easy to do. This is not hard. Like the government, like to Henry's point, the government comes up with money out their ass for every other thing. And I don't know. I then think that the conversation needs to be of like your little return to normalcy. I don't give a fuck about that. So
bro, what is this return to normalcy? Like what the it was never normal for me, a black dark
It's a hot mess then, it's a hot mess now.
Yeah,
now what are we doing?
And I think that needs to be a conversation. And like I don't know who needs to push that, but like someone needs to be like, you not setting yourself on fire every day. That's not something to clap about. And I know we're in a pandemic, but like fuck that. Like you did all this talking and now you ain't do nothing. So we gonna see, but I know if we don't get them damn stimulus checks, we gonna be on here cussing for a whole episode. So get ready for that. So now we're gonna get into the heads up. We're gonna give someone their flowers. So Stacey Abrams has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for doing her work on voting rights. It's only something that 107 other people and 22 organizations have got. She is on the list of nominees, and fingers crossed that we hope she gets it. To Henry's point, since he is now a certified checkmark member of LLC Twitter, this has to do with Gamestop. So Maxine Waters, the chair of the Financial Services Committee, has called upon Vlad Tenney, the CEO of Robinhood, to testify following their decision to cancel the firm's decision to prevent customers from buying the stock. I vote that they just have Chris Cuomo up there and like drag his ass again, because that was entertaining enough. Henry, as a member of LLC Twitter, any prominent GameStop thoughts or stock option?
Why you gotta do all the time about LSU Twitter? I've been like into finance since 2000. I worked at Wells Fargo. Anyway, point being, this was some bullshit, and they need to prosecute him to the mother. And I am a plaintiff, and I'm trying to figure out how to join a class action, because how do you say for first of all, he be like false advertising, because like his whole Robinhood app, the whole theme is to like help, middle class people learn how to get into stocks and gain money, blah, blah, blah. But then you freeze all of them from buying stock and say you're protecting them when y'all over here getting all this money for these hedge funds that betted for to go down in the first place.
Yeah, I don't really, all that showed me was that
it's a
somebody got your head. Somebody is really in charge of this, and it's not free for all people. Like, it's just not. I mean, I guess that was a perfect example of this equality isn't equal. That's all that was. Capitalism is live and well.
If you got money, you can do what the you want.
I mean,
well, not part. I did notice
you got money if you white.
When in the clip of him and Cuomo or whatever, like the fact that he really couldn't even truly defend,
he couldn't even give an answer.
That's all I needed to know.
Nothing.
He's gonna get dragged in. Yeah, he's gonna get dragged in Congress, and like
he looked like a little worm.
But the thing is, they're gonna be they're just gonna pay a couple people off and move on with their life. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, someone needs to
I
shut
mean,
them
yeah,
down.
that is what's going.
And I better be one of the people that be getting paid. I'm gonna just say that now because I had a couple.
Please, the amount of people that probably, if the lawsuit does pass, you're gonna get. I mean, a rack isn't bad, but y'all probably gonna get like a rack. It's not gonna be
If
nothing
that,
crazy.
if that.
Yeah,
Hey,
if
that
If
rack can go
that.
to that
to
rack
your
can go.
LLC and your little business.
There you go. Hey, support the Umbrella Network. Stop playing with me.
You have a website to drop or to promote or something?
Network.co, you know. We all
Cool. My final point is that people who do Forex were real quiet that day. And I found that funny.
That's
Capitalism cool until the wrong person makes some money.
Forex has
And
nothing to do with the actual stock market. You know that, right?
you said what?
Those
It
are
was a
two different
joke.
things. Forex is trading on
When included in my Forex Twitter, Negroes are also stock market tip investing Negroes. So y'all, all them were quiet that day because capitalism cool until the person who shouldn't be making money makes some profit.
Well, no, it was good and bad for some people. So if you already had stock in games,
you were good. Yeah, you were fine.
Good. So like for me, I had AMC. So like that day after the GameStop stuff, AMC skyrocketed. And I was trying to sell that mother, and I
don't say nothing because you know the IRS gonna use this against you when you file.
And
your
I
I couldn't
don't
sell
know
it.
you,
You
and I
better
ain't
go
ride or die.
on Blantanny or whatever his name. I couldn't sell it. So
And
it's
for the record, I'm not ride or die. I don't know you.
Oh, you
Oh,
saw
we
that
need to
for
have
real.
a Black History
Y'all seen that
Month.
article about Pharrell? He said he was like he told his friends don't do nothing illegal around him because he gonna snitch. He not made for jail.
Yeah, well, Pharrell got enough money to avoid jail, but you know, that's Mackenzie. What were you saying? Something about Black History Month? It is
Happy Black
February.
History Month. We didn't even say that. That's all.
Yeah, get out my Kente print. So finally, the Golden Globes, the awards released their nominees for their upcoming award show, but did notably not include nominations for what Twitter was most unhappy for was Delroy Lindo for The Five Bloods and May I Destroy You. I feel like, Henry, we talk about this every year, but I mean, it's just another point of like, they don't really watch our shit. So like, why are we getting upset about this? But like,
Also that, but no shade. Like no shade, no shade. The Five Bloods was not.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but Delroy.
It is.
It was not that good, y'all. Calm down.
It was not. Delroy Lindo did great in that role.
He did good. He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
That's why I specifically said him, not the film.
Yeah, I was like, this one. People's like, oh my god, and I'm like,
it wasn't that good. But Delroy Lindo was great, and he should have got something. But another example. So that is the 66th episode of the What's Really Going On podcast. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at WRGO Pod. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube where you can watch this video and all of our videos in full. You can also be sure to like, listen, comment, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Lastly, be sure to check out our website, what'sreallygoingonpod.com. We also, I'll tease this a little bit, we're going to have a special episode next week. So just be on the lookout for that. And Mackenzie and Henry, thank you.
Bye, y'all.